Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Black Empowerment 365. I am one of your hosts, Kente, all the way live from Los Angeles, California. And I'm here with my co-host, the wonderful Kiana. How you doing, Kiana?
I am wonderful.
I'm doing great.
Doing
I'm so happy.
evening?
It's actually was raining today in Los Angeles, something that doesn't happen quite a bit out here. So we're always glad to, for it to happen. What's the weather like been where you're at?
It's absolutely gorgeous. 70, 80 degree weather. Nice, clear skies. It's beautiful.
All right. Well, I'm glad of that. Of course, this is our second official episode of the Black Empowerment 365 show. And just to give a little background on this show, Kiana, who started the show with the Celebrating Black History Month show, decided after a good 4-week run that we were going to keep it going, keep this momentum going. So tell the audience a little bit about the reason why you started that show.
Well, I really wanted to take some time out and celebrate Black History Month, and I asked Miss Sharon Powell to come sit down with us and share her personal experience with growing up in the civil rights movement, and it was extremely powerful. So many people received what she said and her experiences, and she helped us actually be there. And so because so many people benefited from it, I thought, why not keep it going? And so I'm just so thankful that we're here and we're able to continue this all year round. And I think it's going to be an amazing way to really learn our history and to really work together and help each other learn.
Yes. And I'm so glad that we have this venue to do that. Now, tonight's guest is the wonderful Gail Deculus-Johnson. How are you doing, Miss Johnson?
Just great. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Yes. So I've had the fortune a couple of times now to meet you in person in Los Angeles. You're someone who collects wonderful Black artifacts, and we're going to talk a lot about some of the things that you collected over the years. And you will also be sharing with us some things that you've collected, right?
Yes, certainly.
All right. So the way that we love to start off with is give us a little background on yourself. Where are you from originally?
Originally born in Chicago, but left there when I was 10. So growing up, reared right here in Los Angeles. So LA's really all I know. I know nothing about Chi-Town in the big windy city. So growing up here, going through the whole educational system here in Los Angeles, and after finishing school, started to do my little hobby in terms of collecting, and then that collection turned into a business.
All right. Mm-hmm. So on the topic of collecting, give us an idea of how you first started collecting. What was it that led you, and what was the first thing you collected?
The first item I collected, I was approached by a friend, and she gave me this book on Black memorabilia. And I was not really like an antique person. I was more contemporary. But she gave me this book on Black memorabilia and invited me to go to an antique show with her. And in going to the antique show, I discovered this little doll, a little bisque doll, the dolls with the braids that, go all over their head. And it's just small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. And I got the doll, and I don't remember exactly, probably about $25 for it. And then once I got home and I looked in the book that she had given me, I found out that the doll was worth a lot more than what I had paid for it. And it started me with this mission of trying to find things that I had never seen before, find things and see what kind of value they really had. And as the years went on, it got deeper and deeper. It was no longer dolls. It was getting into slave shackles and slave documents, and taking me to travel, to go all over to find things, because it's not like you can just walk into any store and find, the artifacts. It's like an Indiana Jones kind of process, where you don't know what you're going to find and when you're going to find it, and you have to be prepared when you do see it to make that acquisition. So through yard sales, estate sales, swap meets, and other antique dealers, you just get this passion. It's like a bug of trying to find different items. I found that I needed to share the things that I had found. I've gone through the educational system and obtained a master's degree, and I was learning more about my history through connecting the dots from memorabilia than I did through the whole, educational system. So it just really helped me heighten my consciousness, heighten my awareness about the true experiences of our forefathers. And I just felt like this is something I had to share. And that's what turned into this.
All right.
I think that's amazing. I really want to know what are some, let's say, 3 ways that you can really tell that you found something good.
Well, there's because the most of your Black items are rare. You can have Asian items, you can have different ethnic items, but your Black memorabilia is generally going to cost you a lot more than any other ethnic group. And when you think about where and how, it just depends on kind of where you may find something. Most people think, oh, well, you can go to the South and find this stuff at any time, and you can, but it's a different process of trying to acquire it, because the little lady sitting on the porch, if she has a Black doll and you come in there and you start talking about memorabilia, she's going to know to jack up the price. And so it's not always, it's a strategy in how you can come about items as well.
Now, you traveled all over the world pretty much in search for this memorabilia. What are some of the places that you've been to get stuff?
I've made trips from coast to coast, like actually getting in a car or a van and traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast, going through the back roads and the little, hick towns, antique stores and other antique dealers in that journey to acquire whatever you could. I've also traveled to Africa several times. When it comes to the shackles and stuff like that, it's easier to obtain those. Well, it's not easy, but it's a way to obtain those a little smoother process, because even trying to get maybe shackles from Virginia, the risk is just as great. And so traveling to other countries where there may be a relationship, like Aborigines, thinking that maybe I could find something in Australia, or finding items or artifacts here that will say occupy Japan or China or whatever. So there are artifacts from all over, and I generally will try to find as much as I can in those places.
Now, during your travels, have you ever been afraid at all? Has it ever been a dicey situation where your safety might have been in jeopardy?
I can't say safety, but one time there was a journey, and that was right here in California, further south on the other side of, like San Diego. I don't remember exactly what the town was, but it was an antique show, went to the show and was purchasing items. And of course, they knew that I was looking for Black artifacts. And so this man called me to the side and says, I have some stuff at my home. And I'm willing to sell part of, the collection. So that meant following him to his house. And in following him through the house, it was an area that I was not familiar with, going, up hills and unlit streets, like the dirt streets or whatever, and following him around these bins. And then you got to the end and, passing like bathtubs in the yard and toilets in the yard, and just a mass thing of items everywhere. And you kind of think, well, I hope I'm making a good choice with just kind of following this man to his house, because you didn't know what was there. But got there, and he had just an incredible collection of Black memorabilia. It was just unbelievable. And he pulled out all of the stuff. And usually I'm one that I'm looking for the most racist stuff, or, the raw, what I call raw antique artifacts. And so he pulls out this picture. And when I say his entire home was just nothing but memorabilia, it was really hard to believe this is the way he lived. It wasn't like an art thing or a way to display, whether he was talking about the toaster cover or whether he was talking about art on the wall or salt and pepper shakers or cookie jars or figurines or whatever. His whole house was in nothing but just Black memorabilia. And he pulls out this picture, and it's this baby, the baby drinking out of the ink bottle that says milk.
Well, hold on 1 second. We're having a quick technical issue. Can you do me a favor? Just refresh real quick, and it should clear it up. There's a little audio issue, but because this is very important, I want the audience to hear this. So just refresh.
So he pulls out this picture of this little baby drinking out of the ink bottle, and the capture under the baby said nigger milk. And that was the first item that I can say really kind of made my blood boil. And, but of course I was trying not to show my excitement to him in seeing it. And out of all this other stuff he was willing to sell, on that, he says, well, no, I can't sell that. And so there was a little, going back and forth, a little haggling. And so he finally gave me a print of that picture with the baby drinking ink out of this bottle. But nothing where I could say I was really scared, but that was an adventure that I would think twice before I did that again.
Wow.
Well, I would love to know, out of all the artifacts and memorabilia that you've collected, what speaks to you the most?
My most treasured piece, and the one that I probably would never sell, are the full body shackles. And those were the shackles that went around the neck, around the wrist, and the ankles. You may have seen pictures of those. And that was, I went to West Africa, and I had put the word out that I was looking for shackles. And I got a little knock on the hotel door, and the guy says, I think I have what you're looking for. And he brought these full body shackles to the room, and he had to go and get permission from his siblings and his family in order to, sell them to me. And it wasn't like a dollar value that at that point, because I had never seen that before, I was willing to give him anything and everything that I had to satisfy that purchase. When I left, I had practically given him everything in my suitcase, even my ex-husband at the time, his jeans and my clothes and practically everything, including all of the money that I had, because to me it was like, this is just something that I will never see again. And they had been buried for many years. And so then the challenge was getting on an airport, and it was unlike today. It would be really difficult today to try to walk through an airport with, authentic shackles. But had those little shackles in my carry-on, did not put them in my suitcase, and managed to get them back here. So the shackles are definitely one of my prize artifacts. And then over the years, being able to collect various slave documents from the burial site, from the burial grounds where they just, there were segregated areas in terms of where whites were buried and where whites were buried, or documents that talk about the complexion of the skin, or that they would be a slave for life, different things like that. I also was able to find a discharge paper for Buffalo Soldier. And I have it here, but it's so hard. I don't think you'd be able, to actually read it. But I can send you probably pictures. Also found, and this was not way back, but kind of recent. Can you see this is the Agatha Christie book, 10 Little Niggers.
Oh wait, hold it up a little bit more. To the camera.
Can you see that now?
A little bit more. Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, you can't see it.
Yeah, you can see. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, and yeah, because that.
Can you read the title?
Wait, when you hold it up, you can, and just hold it there, and then we'll be able to read it.
Can you see that now?
Okay, yeah.
Can you see it? Really shocked when I found this one. When I was growing up in the 50s and 60s, or definitely the 50s, I heard about 10 Little Indians. A little, rhyme that taught kids how to count. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Indians. I never knew that 10 Little Niggers came long before 10 Little Indians. I have books as far back as the 1800s, where it was 10 Little Niggers in the book, teaching, again, kids how to count. But then the novelist, or Agatha Christie, famous mystery writer, put her own twist in it, and her book started in like 1939, and she do more editions up through like 27th or 30th edition up through the 80s. And so in the 80s they were still circulating her book 10 Little Niggers. And when you look at the cover, it's the Gollywog lynching. She also did 10 Little Indians, and on that one he had like a tomahawk at his neck. I also found now this one, I don't know if you can see it, but it's Mother Goose. It's a book on Mother Goose, and this has 10 Little Niggers in it. The Mother Goose nursery rhymes.
Yeah. And then there was none, right?
And yeah. Well, after the 10 Little Niggers, 9 little nigger boys sitting down to dine. One chokes himself, and then there were 9, and then the numbers go down to, and then there were none. And the sequel to that book was 9 Niggers. But and then something happened to them as well. So finding a lot of different documents and books and figurines was just really fascinating to me.
Now, in our chat, they're asking, Aaron is asking, do you have any freedom papers?
What I have is a print of the manumission paper. And again, not sure how well it will be seen.
Yeah, like when you hold it up a little bit closer, you can see.
Wow.
Yeah, a little bit more.
What I want you to see is the name at the bottom, the manumission paper.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
There you go. Can you see that?
Wow.
So in the process of collecting, I may find, I have like a big auction paper, pretty much out of Sierra Leone, selling, Negroes for sale, cargo. And then you have the bill of sale, the print of the bill of sale, the paperwork that was actually used in the process to sell us from one human being to the other. And then the memorabilia saying, okay, time out, you can't sell them anymore. But most of us did not learn about the manumission paper, and that was the paper you had to carry to show that you couldn't be sold anymore. Hope nobody took it from you and burned it, because if they did, you could go right back into enslavement. So when the movie 12 Years a Slave came out, it was great for me because it was something that I've been telling people all along, because people actually buy the prints of the, the bill of sale and the auctions and so when I tell them about the full 4-page statement that's made with those 4 prints of those documents, and when they're strategically placed on the wall, it's just an incredible message about our history. And the manumission paper was a key part of that.
Wow. Now, all right. So, okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Okay. Other documents that I thought were I'd like to share are the actual shackles.
Right.
Can you see those?
Hold it up just a little bit higher.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Jeez.
Can you see those?
Yeah.
And these are what you call rattlers.
Yeah, lift it a little bit higher. A little bit higher and you'll have it. A little bit higher. There you go. There.
Oh, my.
Wow.
These are called rattlers. They have rocks and pebbles in the inside, so you can hear any noise if there was any movement. You can see that these were not symmetrically round in the middle, and so you can only imagine what that feels like against that ankle bone, that flesh in the ankle bone.
Oh.
These were called rattlers.
That's for the ankle.
They're made out of metal, so it's very hard to maneuver with this on your ankle when you can see the size.
Wow.
These are from the Middle Passage. This is a different style of shackle called Middle Passage. And you see the iron. These also went around the ankle. You would be lying on the slave ship next to bodies. And when you have these bodies, of course, you're kind of anchored down. These are very heavy. And I take these to different schools. I do presentations for schools and organizations. And so I allow them to actually be able to feel and touch and feel the energy from the actual shackles. And what I tell them is, being anchored down on that ship, if you were next to someone, because they would put this bar all the way through, and so you'd be connected to other people. And if that person got sick, cholera or, just seasick or whatever, you would just be there, and you would, you'd have to be connected to them. If that person died, got cholera or whatever, you'd still be there until they actually return to disconnect that body. So it was very not only painful and uncomfortable, but you can only imagine the health issues that we had to endure through these journeys of getting through the middle passage.
Now,
So those are
in our
called your
chat,
middle
Ava wants to
passage
know: do they feel real
shackles.
heavy? Both of those shackles.
Yes. These are. It's almost like a wrought iron. They are very heavy. It's just incredible the weight of this on those ankles. I have another pair here that when Amistad, Debbie Allen produced Amistad, and she was talking about the most memorable part of her research and finding things, and she said they were the children's shackles. So if I'm suspect about anything, I generally will say whether I'm suspect or not. But these are what I would consider the replica of the children's shackles. And the reason I question it is depending on the source. And so my source, I wasn't totally confident. It's not like I can go around the corner and find them. But these were an interesting set of children's shackles.
For the kids, yeah.
Can you see those?
Sick. It's really sick.
And yes. This was an interesting find as well. This was a collar that went around the neck, and it identified the plantation of where that person was to be. It's a leather, the very hard leather, and the connection on the hoops from the back, but the neck collar, very interesting. Another way of bondaging and holding us down. The piece or part that I've been looking for many years is the collar with the spikes on the end. I've been in this business for a long time, and those are very hard to find, very rare, and that's what I'm searching for now, is to find the actual neck collar with the spikes on the end. And with those spikes, they were they made it very difficult in terms of trying to sleep in the forest or woods or whatever. You could not lie down because you can't lie down with those spikes on your neck. And if you're on a horse, I could probably catch you a lot faster with those spikes than just trying to wheel you in otherwise. So that's a piece that I'm really looking for right now.
Okay, well, we have a question from the Facebook group. Renee, she wanted to know if you're planning to write a book about your collection and the history that goes with them.
Not so much a novel, but I am in the process. One of my bucket list to-do items is to do, I want to do a price guide. And through that price guide, and there's, I should say, several versions of different books. The price guide, because I want to share with others some of the things that are out there that people never even knew existed. So I want to share with people what some of those items are, and to be the author of that guide, because right now the books that have been presented and the books that are out there are not people that look like me. And so it's like, again, having our story told through different eyes. I'm glad that they have put books out, but I'm thinking at this time, now it's time for me to do it. So that's one, the price guide. And then the other one is I have a presentation on, it's called Brown Sugar. And it's the power of imagery through the images of Black babies. And from that, I want to also do a book on just Black babies in the images and what our forefathers experienced with their children, and to show what all they had to experience up to, recent times. And so that's another phase of that book. And then sheet music. I have an incredible collection of sheet music, and those that were produced with Black images, I want to share those. So just different segments. Not so much, a novel or anything. I'm not a historian. Don't claim to be a historian. I do have a self-proclaimed image of an underground memorabilia collector or curator. And so that's what I want to show, all of the different items that were found, and share with other people about the value of them, because there's a lot of information to be shared. I'll share an example. I have a Muhammad Ali versus Superman comic book. Have you ever seen that one?
It's classic.
And I sold that magazine, and in the Christie's Ali collectible pieces, they have the price guides in there. And one page of the book that was signed by a politician, I can't even remember his name right now, but the page was incredible. And the price of the magazine, of course, went skyrocket, because of his signature. But the magazine itself, without signatures, was still, a valuable piece to have. And I sold the magazine a few $100, and the lady brought it back and said, the guy down at the magazine, at the comic book store, said that he would give me, something like $30 for it or $40 for it. And part of my policy in terms of memorabilia, I don't do cash refunds, but I happily gave her money back, because she didn't know the value of that magazine, regardless as to what this guy was telling her. We're talking A, Muhammad Ali, and B, Superman. And Superman collectible items are valuable within, their own right. So part of me wanting to do the price guide is to be able to show people, just like the book that I received when my friend gave it to me, to be able to show people that an idea of what the value is, because a lot of times we don't know the value of some of the artifacts that we have just sitting around the house.
Now, we have a bunch of questions that are coming in, and we're going to open up the seat at some point so people can ask questions to Gail tonight, Ms. Johnson. But before we get to the first question that comes from Renee, there's a term called Gator bait that I don't know that people quite understand where that comes from. And I remember we had a conversation at one point at one of your booths where you were talking about that. Can you inform the audience?
Yes. Yes. And I wish I had that item with me, but back in the late 1800s, they would drop Black babies in the swamps of Louisiana and Florida for alligator bait. So they would actually take the child from the family and tie them to the bank on a tree or whatever. The baby would cry and kick and scream and bring out the alligator to the shores. So sometimes they would be able to get to the alligator before he actually got to the baby, and sometimes not. And when I first heard this, I just didn't believe it. I just didn't think it was true. But over the years, I was collecting things. I had found postcards that actually went through the mail system talking about alligator bait. I found a letter opener, and the pencil that went into the alligator's mouth had a Black baby's head on the end of it. further proof. Souvenir spoons, souvenir spoons from state to state. You could go from any state and find a little spoon. Well, the rare ones have black images on them, and I found souvenir spoons with alligators and babies on them, bottle openers with alligators and babies. So over a period of time, I just started finding all these different things. And finally, this man came into my shop that was on Crenshaw, and he confirmed it. So it wasn't anything that was like well known all over the country. It was very territorial, very regional. And people in certain parts of Louisiana and certain parts of Florida were well aware that that's what was happening.
Don't know about that part of our history. And I think it's very important for us to understand what we went through during this period of time. So I want to, and this, I think this is a great question after talking about this. Renee also wants to know from Facebook.
Exactly.
What are your emotions when you find these items? Are there anger, crying? Do you get nauseous?
Well, initially it was more of a shock. Again, I'm thinking I've done my due diligence. I've went through the educational system to try to understand my history, and it was not there. And so when finding these items, like I said, for me, it got to the point where the more racist pieces, the more unbelievable pieces, those are the pieces that I wanted. The only thing that's really ever made my blood boil, like I said, was the nigger milk. That, for whatever reason, got to me. And I've collected lynchings. I've collected lynchings of women, which a lot of people don't understand as well, that women were lynched too. I've seen lynchings. I've seen, artifacts and figurines where, the most grotesque looking things that you can even imagine. But it doesn't make me angry now. And I don't know if I've gained like a callousness over the emotions. But like I said, if it's raw and if it's negative, I want it, because it's like I want to be able to share and to show others this really happened, or this was really made. And it's not anything that is just in our minds, or, like now you'll hear people, get over slavery and get past that and don't live in the past and all of that. But I firmly believe you have to know where you've been to know where you're going. And we have to share with our kids, knowing our past shapes our future. And if we're going to really recognize and honor the President of the United States today, we have to understand how far we've come in order to be in the position that, we're in now. So don't have any soft feelings now, but totally understand how others, because of the shock, because of the unawareness of what was really happening, how others do. When I was in the shop, or when I do shows, even today, my last show, I did a show in the Baldwin Hills Mall at the Pan-African Film Festival. I had people actually shedding tears, seeing some of the things or some of the images that were there, and they would cry.
Wow.
And so that
they want to know, Ava
frequently.
from our Blab chat wants to know, what about doing a documentary? Is that something that you are thinking about doing potentially?
Yes, that's definitely on the to-do list as well. Would love to do a documentary. What I want to do is to have a partnership with the schools. They're going to let us forget about the Holocaust, but where is it that we're going to really start trying to share the information of what, the malignity and the benign neglect that our forefathers experienced? And so a documentary is definitely
we do have
something
another
that I would love to
question.
do.
Aaron, he wants to know, do you have any black-faced items?
Black-faced items? Yes, in terms of, I have sheet music. You're talking about where the item is a white person that's in blackface? Exactly.
Okay.
If that's what his question is, then yes, of course, because we have different musicals that went on. I have movie memorabilia as well as musical memorabilia, and you'll find a lot of blackface items with the music side of it.
All right. One see why I love Miss Johnson so much, because you do something that is so important, preserving our history, and I thank you so much. And you know, I was at the Pan African Film Festival this year. I had a film in it, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see you there. So that I'm kind of upset about that. But maybe next time, I'll make sure that we.
Oh wow! Nor did I get a chance to hear. To see your.
Oh, okay. Let's see. It says we have another something else from +1.
I would love to see your film.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's what's up. All right. +1 wants to know: are you familiar? Yeah, we hear you, but the video went out for a second. It should. Hopefully, it'll pop back in.
Huh?
The video went out for a minute. It says, "Are you familiar with the Montague collection?" The Montague collection. Are you familiar with it? Uh-oh. Okay, I think we're having...
This is really heavy for a Friday. But I think this is just so amazing because I don't think many of us have really seen the shackles. I don't think many of us have seen or even heard of some of the things that you were talking about.
Right.
And for me, I am in shock. I'm in shock. But we can go to the question that +1 asked. So go ahead, Kente.
Yeah.
I have another one when you say in shock. Kente, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine. Perfect.
Did you know, and I have a web series, Disable Images on YouTube, a web series. It was a 9-episode web series called Did You Know, DYK. And there I shared, did you know that on the Confederate money, the Confederate bills, that they actually had slave labor. So there were Black people on $100 notes from the mid-1800s.
Mm.
And most of your Confederate states actually had, this may be difficult to actually see, but most of your Confederate states had the bills and notes currency. So we were actually on $100 bills from the mid-1800s.
You want to just hold it to the camera and just real still, and then it'll lock in. So, it's kind of... Oh, here we go.
Hold it up a little bit.
Okay, right there. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Hold it up a little bit more.
A little higher. Yeah, we were on that money, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen
and
it.
It's the vignette in the middle. You can see the slave labor.
Wow.
Can you see the slave labor?
Yes.
So that's from like the mid-1800s out of Virginia. This bill is out of Virginia. Have one out of Louisiana. And then this one is out of Georgia. This too is a bit difficult to see. There are Confederate notes and bills with slave labor from the mid-1800s.
Wow. So how do you preserve some of these artifacts like the shackles? What do you have to do to preserve some of these memorabilia?
Well, these are part of the problem with why they're hard to see too. These are protected in a clear sleeve, the bills. Most of the books are wrapped. The shackles, I don't have anything that I can say to preserve them. I do sell them framed for people that want them framed, and then just the raw artifacts if they want them unframed. I have a wall in my home where I have the various, whips and shackles, and they're just kind of attached to the wall and have been there for years. So nothing, they're kind of rusty, and you can tell that they're fragile, but because of the cast iron, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah. Wow, that's deep. So now, what other what other artifacts do you have? Do you have anything from any of our great legends that lived, like any of African American leaders or anything like that? Do you collect anything?
I have on special right now, one of my featured items. Usually if I go do a show or whatever, I may have a featured item. And I have a Booker T. Washington, Up from Slavery, 1901. So we're talking well over 100 years. The actual book, Up from Slavery. And then there are different versions. There are versions from the 20s, versions from the 50, reprints. But the earlier one, like I said, 1901, that's a special one. Have other books or like articles, actual newspapers that were printed, not necessarily from a Black author, but I do have one of the Freedom paper. It was called the Freedom. And that was the first newspaper kind of published by a Black publishing newspaper company. Have copies of those, and a couple other books. Langston Hughes, have one from him. Several books with, first editions. I don't have the one of the ones that I found that I thought was just incredible that a lot of people don't know about. I don't know if it's actually a Black author. I don't think so. But this one is titled The Negro, a Beast in the Image of God. Can you see that?
Up a little bit higher. Oh, yeah, I see it. Wow.
And this is written 1900.
It's really not that long ago, if you think about it. Wow. Yes.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We do have.
So I'm actually questioning whether we were a beast.
Once again, we're having a technical.
They were questioning whether we were human or not.
I can't believe this.
Mm-hmm. All right, so as what we're gonna do is once again, it's I don't know what's going on, but so we're gonna have you,
Miss Johnson.
Yeah. So
if we can have you refresh really quickly. Okay, she's
We're back, and Plus One wants to know: do you loan any of your? Oh, hi. How you doing? Plus one wants to know: do you loan any of your items to any HBCUs at all? Have you ever had any of your work at?
No, I don't loan them to any. I didn't get the. think what I think he was asking is, as far as another item on my to-do list, on my bucket list, is to do, of course, I want a museum, but I want to do a mobile museum as well. And in doing the mobile museum, part of that will include doing presentations and doing exhibits of your Black colleges, as you know, as part of the mission to educate. So no, I don't loan them out, but certainly am willing to do a presentation or exhibit. I've done exhibits and presentations at Cal State Long Beach, and of course, you know, your middle schools and your high schools pretty often. Occidental College, Northridge, and so I have done some presentations here around in LA, but not necessarily loaning artifacts. I do rent props for, you know, different from the film side, the movie side. I will rent certain things out.
Well, I would love to know, what is the reaction of the students when you do presentations at the schools?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I think it's so important in going to the schools, is actually being able to say, as a student, you can actually see, feel, and touch the energy and the charge from actually holding shackles. And so, of course, they're in shock and awe and wondering, you know, well, how do you get out? Or I can get out, and, you know, little things like that. But it's rewarding to me, because it's sharing something that they will probably not just see in that school book. You know, that school book may tell them, if we're lucky enough for the school book to even talk about shackles. But fortunately, I've been able to get into schools. My most recent one was in West LA City Charter School, where they actually brought me in. I'm coming in to do Black memorabilia, and they're, you know, the percentage of actual Black students was just minimal. It was just incredible. But they were very responsive and very eager to hear, you know, what I call the truth in terms of what our history, and it's not Black history. I phrase that it's
Right.
American history.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ava had an excellent question. She wanted to know if you have been to the Black and Wax Museum in Baltimore.
No, I have not had that opportunity yet. I've been to Cincinnati, the museum there. Of course, I've been to DC, you know, the museum there, but not Baltimore. I'll have to add that to my list.
Now, we want to welcome to our chat. We have Danny Redwine. How you doing, Danny?
Hi.
And you have something to share with us as well.
I do. I have something that was given to my son probably about 15 years ago by his grandmother.
Hi, Danny.
Hi.
Am I going to see him?
Mm-hmm.
You're breaking up on me.
Yeah. Of course, you know.
So I want to show you this because it looks like an instrument. I don't know exactly where it came from or what it does.
Kente, I can't hear Danny.
Okay. But keep talking. Can you hear me?
I'm just going to show her.
Okay.
Can you see her?
I hear you, yes.
Can you see her?
No.
See.
Do
That
I
looks
need
like
to
a
hit
limbo.
something?
Fresh for us, Miss Johnson, so that you can see this item. She's showing it to us right now.
That looks like a kalimba.
A kalimba?
Yeah. But it's like a kind of a makeshift one. I have one. I have something like that, I think in my living room.
It's an instrument, isn't it?
You play. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have one.
It looks like it's made from a can of sardines.
Yeah. Now that's different.
I'm really interested to see what she has to say. Well, I guess, since we're waiting for her to come back, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And we can go through the room. And no, Kente, you know a lot of people here. We have Miss Jordan. Let's see. We have Aaron. We have Ava Laura. Thank you guys for joining. You have Danny, of course. And someone just joined, Shady. So I just want to thank everybody that is here tonight. You have Dark Ebony. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we're waiting for Miss Johnson to pop back in. I think she is here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Shady McGrady. All right. Okay, so yeah. Okay, is it a black screen for you? I swear, Blab is trying to test our patience.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, I'm willing to wait because this is something that, it has been a very, very powerful night.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Shady, we're waiting for our guest to come back. Oh, what an elegant woman! Oh, that's nice. No, our guest has to come back in. Okay. Bye, Shady. Yeah, Shady gotta go. Why are you acting shady, Shady? All right, so we're waiting for Miss Johnson to come back in, and
Kente,
and
can you hear me?
I love this part when you're waiting for somebody to come back in, and then it's like you're like, oh, there we go. All right, so
hi.
Okay,
Yes.
so she wanted to know about that instrument right there.
That looks to me, I don't know the technical name, picked up instruments like that out of Africa.
Mm-hmm. Kalimba.
So it's
a kalimba.
An African.
It's like a kalimba or a kalimba
instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only collect those, or I've picked up different shapes of those from Africa. But my main focus is on African American memorabilia.
Now that one was made out of a sardine.
So it's a great piece to hold on to.
Yeah, I think it's pretty old. I'm not for sure how old, but I just wanted to share.
Yeah, that's the musical instrument.
I don't know how to play
it.
There it is.
You can push the tips of it to make different sounds.
Wait.
Okay. Over the hole?
No, just a very tip.
Here it is. This is what it's called.
Maybe I'm not doing it right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no skills.
It looks very interesting.
Great item.
It is
great item to hold on to.
She's Isida says that they use them in Gambia, and she's from Sierra Leone. So, yeah,
it's
cool. Yes.
Okay. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing
dropping
that
by.
with us.
Thank you for dropping by. So is there a?
I have
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Another tidbit of did you know information. We've heard of Little Black Sambo.
Yes.
The book Little Black Sambo.
Yes. Yeah.
And on this one, you can actually see the his culture. He was an Indian child
Mm.
from India. And over the years, they then changed his image where he started to have like tennis shoes and a natural.
Mm. See, there's a tiger there too.
Yes. You see his image has changed. Still a little red jacket, but the culture, the Indian culture, you don't see it. Well, over the years, like back in the 50s, when they actually banned the book from the schools, it was actually part of the curriculum in the schools. They banned it. He then, had on tennis shoes and a little red jacket. And then they would make him actually, in the 50s, there was a game called Little Black Sambo where he actually had to go through the jungles, and they made him look like a little monkey. This one, at least he looks human on this one. But the key was there are no tigers in Africa. And so it was another, like mind manipulation to make you believe that the kid was black when he was really from India. So the Little Black Sambo, as I knew or growing up, was presented as a black child, but he was really not. Little Black Sambo was not an African American child. He was more Indian.
And mind you, this is 1950s. We're not talking about 1700.
1800.
Right.
Exactly.
So this is relatively history. So, it's something.
I know earlier someone was asking, I think it was Ava Laura, she wanted to know if you can show us the full body shackles.
No, I wouldn't physically be able to do that unless I try to give you, I could show you a picture.
Okay.
But the actual wall itself, I'd have to break down my whole studio here to get to the wall.
Oh, okay. All right. I've seen them though.
But what I can show you, I can show you a picture of what it looks like. So shall
yes, please.
You gonna go do a commercial
all right,
or something?
We'll do that while you go get it.
Okay.
All right. So while we're hanging on, I just want to let people know that we're not going to be on next Friday because I'll be traveling actually to Chicago, but we're going to be on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And who's our guest on Wednesday? So they'll know.
It is parent coach LaTanya Blackman, and I'm very excited that she's going to be able to join us. And it's crazy that Miss Johnson is talking about going to the schools, and I really want to cover a lot about our children and how we can really educate them and really steer them up, and empower our next generation. So that is what we will be talking about next Wednesday with parent coach LaTanya Blackman.
All right. And
wow.
Yeah. So excited.
That's the collar that I was telling you about that I really want to find.
Oh,
but you
man.
See, it went around his neck, around his wrist, and then I'm just on still. Can you see his feet? Yeah, that's what I was trying to.
Well, if you move it up just a little bit, so you said.
So those went around his ankles. That's what the full body shackle looks like.
Wow. Wow.
I would never see. I've never seen that in my life. I've never seen that in the history books. I've never seen that at all.
Yeah, that was full body shackles.
Mm. Wow.
And then the picture that was at the bottom of his feet, the sign that would describe the slaves that were being sold. Can you see that? At the very top, it says to be sold or let. To be sold or let.
What, bloodlet?
And do you have any idea what let meant? Let meant to be sold or let.
What is that?
Can you see
Yeah,
that?
what does that mean?
The let, we will rent them. We will sell them to you, and we will rent them to you. So we're talking bodies here. We're talking human beings here that were for sale, but they're going to sell them and they're going to rent them out to you as well. And when we talk about resumes, this one actually gave a description by name and age of the slave, and then gave you their skill, what they did, whether they were good with horses or a laborer, or whether they were a house servant. So it gave you like an 1800 resume of our forefathers and what they did. Here's, gives you the description of their skills. So interesting information. I think, a lot of times there have been questions about like the authenticity of the Willie Lynch letter. And I don't, I am not one that's going to try to support or research to validate whether it was actually written or not. I take the position that whether it was written back then or not, the projections that were in the Willie Lynch letter, projecting 300 years, if we did what he told them to do, if they did what he told them to do, what would happen? The demise of the mental psyche of us is happening now. So whether the Willie Lynch letter is valid or not, we are still living all of the things that was projected in that letter, the dysfunction of our family, the lack of education and resources as a people, the lack of cohesiveness as a people to work together. I take the position of family first. And if we maintain our families and put our priorities in our families, then I think we can make a change. That mindset that's out there now can be changed. If we, support, we talk about reparations. I do believe that the reparations for us need to start from within. We need to start from home. So, I think I'm having some technical. Can you still hear me?
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. We have from Aaron. He wrote it. He's talking about the Willie Lynch letter. People just don't want to take credit for it. He planted the seed for everything they did to us. Yep. So yeah, that's for sure. So, but some really great information that we're getting tonight from Ms. Johnson. And like I said, every time I see this lady, I give her a big hug because, this is so necessary to keep this history that we need to know our past so we know what we're going to do in the future. And I want to welcome. He just went out. But thank you so much for sharing with us. Now I see you have some figurines too in the background. So that's also something that you collect as well. Oh. So we're gonna.
I have to say that she doesn't consider herself as a historian, but I mean, in the last hour and a half, I've learned so much. And for me, it is very emotional. Just the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very tough. It's very tough.
The one thing too that's amazing about what she has to share is, you can read it in a book or see a movie, but to actually see these artifacts up close and personal, or even like with this, to see it on video like that, and to see that these are not movie props. These are, in fact, real. These are our history. It's our past. And we're not talking about a long time ago. We're not talking about a long time ago at all. And so to actually see these things, and they will start speaking to you too when you see them, to actually, to actually hold these things into your hands. It's pretty incredible. So, thank you so much, Miss Johnson, for blessing us with your life's work. So, and it's so funny that we had a lot of technical difficulties tonight with Miss Johnson, but you know what? We are soldiering through because this is so important information to share with our audience here. And
maybe we're gonna have to have her on a non-rainy day in LA.
Well, you know what? Or I might have to do this is, because we started to do this, just have her come by the house, because I had my situation was real nice. So, that's what we almost did today. But earlier today, the everything was looking very nice with Blab, and so. But you never know with technology, especially when you're doing a live show. But also, I did a video interview with her as well too. So, but it's very short. Mm-hmm. So, but really, really good stuff. And you know what? Each week on this show, we want to share with you a lot of stuff about our past, our present, and future as well. So, like our first show was about empowerment, because I wanted the first show to be about how we can empower our community and having that mindset, that entrepreneurial mindset in our community. This week we talked about our past by talking about the different artifacts that Miss Johnson has collected, and next week we're going to talk about our future. So we did present, past, and now future, and having our the next generation. So. One thing that I want to do, I guess this is a good time to do this, is that each week I like to do a segment that I call This Day in History. And since today is March 11th, we're going to do This Day in History for March 11th. In 1968, soul singer Otis Redding posthumously receives a gold record. Soul singer Otis Redding posthumously receives a gold record for the single The Dock of the Bay. Redding was killed in a plane crash 3 months prior to his death. And oddly enough, Otis Redding died in a bay, and he had recorded a song called "Sitting by the Dock of the Bay." I think you guys are familiar with that song. Now, Otis Redding, just to give you a little background on him, was obviously a fantastic singer, writer, musician, all of that. But also, talking about the entrepreneurial mindset, both him and Sam Cooke were, and they were bothly died mysteriously too. They were ahead of the game as far as trying to own their own rights, owning their own rights, and that's the thing that they were fighting for, both Sam Cooke as well as Otis Redding. So definitely Otis Redding is someone that you want to read up on, not just as a singer, but he had a very interesting, beyond his singing career as well. So this day in for March 11th, Otis Redding received his gold record for the song "Dock of the Bay" 3 months after he passed away. So we have Miss Johnson back once again.
Yes.
Hi.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Yes. But we're so glad to have you. So, if somebody wanted to find out more about Sable Images and maybe even schedule you for to speak at their institution or whatnot, how could they do that?
You can always find me on www.sableimages.com. That's my website.
Okay.
Email info at sableimages.com, as well as check out the YouTube Sable Images DYK. Did you know? As well as Facebook Sable Images and Twitter at Sable Images. Number 323-370-3664. You can always call me, find out when the next shows are, or if they wanted to send me an email telling me to put them their email address on my blast, and when I do a blast to let people know where the next show is, they would always be informed. So that was one that's one way that they can find out what's happening. And certainly if they need an exhibit or a presentation, I would love to be able to do that.
All right. So before we go out, did anybody want to come in and did they have any questions while we have Ms. Johnson here? Please let us know now before we say goodbye to this episode. Of course, Kiana, can you tell us how to get you in social media? And once again, about Happy Work Week?
Absolutely. You can find me at happyworkweek.com. Also, all my handles are the same. Twitter is at Happy Work Week. Facebook, my Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/happyworkweek555. Tumblr, Happy Work Week. So across the board is Happy Work Week, and Happy Work Week is simply about, really spreading happiness in the workplace, one individual at a time. And so that is really my mission, and I'm super excited about it. So Kente, tell us a little bit about you and how we can find you as well.
Sure. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at KenteF. As well, you can go to my website, indyradio.org. That's INDYradio.org. And, we're here every week providing you great content. At least we hope it's great, that you guys will love it. And I'm really proud about this show and some of the other things that we've been, up to. And just so happy that people came in and shared, this experience with us. And before we go, we do have a question, and it's from Aaron. And he wants to know, how do you feel about the school books in Texas? And I think what he's referring to is that in Texas, they had, I don't know if we're aware of this, they had school books that were saying that that basically Africans came here as migrant workers instead of slaves. So were you aware of that? And what is your thoughts on it?
Yes, I am aware of that. Was really shocked and very pleased and happy that the student was courageous enough to inform her parents or his parents about what the issue was, so that they could correct that book. Because again, sugarcoating it or making it as if it wasn't what it was is not bringing any justice to anyone. And so I'm glad that they were brave enough to bring that topic to the surface, to say, this isn't true, this isn't right. Because part of my quest, as far as collecting memorabilia, it's all about truth. It's not about perpetuating hatred or racism. It's about telling the truth and showing our youth and other adults what the real truth, was. I had one incident recently with, there's a list of Black inventions and the inventors, and it was at a school, and the teacher that was sharing this information was getting pushback from other school administrators saying that, how do you validate that list? So again, we have to walk one step ahead, we have to walk a step higher in whatever we've done and whatever we do. And as far as, our history not really being a true reflection of what happened is really sad that now they're trying to sugarcoat it or like they were doing with Huckleberry Finn or whatever, take the N-word out of the book. We can't reverse history. It's what happened. So the best thing we have to do now is to communicate it and communicate what happened and to move forward.
All right. Very well said. Definitely. Very well said. And remember, once again, it's sableimages.com. Definitely go there and check it out. And also, too, we won't be back next Friday because I'll be traveling, but we'll be back Wednesday, which is the Wednesday is, I just saw it too, is the 16th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. And it's only for that day just because I'll be traveling, but we'll go back to our regular Friday night show. So looking forward to that. So once again, we'll see you next week for another Black Empowerment 365 show. Peace.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.